We're going live. We're going live. We're coming out to be alive.
I'm not going to sing with you.
You're not going to sing with me? Why not?
Nope. Because you sound like a girl.
Okay, are you gender shaming now? Gender
Yes.
role shaming? Are you?
I am, because
what are you saying exactly?
You're a little high pitched there for me, sport.
I'm a little high. Okay, fine.
We're going live. We're going live. We're going live.
Hey, I do
mean,
entire
really?
books in that voice. I don't know what your problem is.
This is not a defense. This is not a defense.
Probably not.
It's nothing wrong with sounding like a girl. There's something wrong with Paul trying to sound like a girl.
What is the beard?
There's something wrong with me trying to sound like a girl.
Beard? Is it the beard is throwing you off? It is starting to reach
your image with maybe, Sailor Moon. We could deal with this.
Oh, Sailor Moon with a beard.
No, not with a beard. The real Sailor Moon. Not the fake.
Oh, I would be the fake Sailor Moon.
You would be the fake Sailor Moon.
All right, Terry. Why are you torn up Terry Mixon? Why does your label say that?
Because I went and got an MRI on Friday, and I suspect, based on what the doctor said, that I've got a torn rotator cuff.
Ouch.
So we'll find out early next week how that's going to work out for me. But the pain has gone down, but the loss of range of motion has not abated it. So there's something wrong in my left shoulder.
Well, I'll be the realist here. Your range of motion is never going to be the same.
Well, that may be true, but one does what one can.
Yeah. We've been told that you're past warranty, so that's
shit. I am way past warranty. If the screen keeps jumping, it's because Screamer is behind my pile of books, nuzzling it, so it keeps making the camera move.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I wonder what was going on there. If you guys were having an earthquake down there in Clear Lake, or what the hell? Well, I am Raid Cooley because I spent the last 4 or 5 days doing nothing but implementing new features and killing bugs. Lots and lots and lots of bugs. And the worst part is they're bugs of my own devising. I created them, and then I must fix them. All right, we've had our first cat sighting for those of you playing at home. Oh, look at Screamer. Oh, see, that's worth viewing of the YouTube video right there. Right there. So on the writing front, how the hell have things been going?
I literally, just before we started recording this, wrapped up the first draft of Spoils of War.
Cool.
It's done 106,000 words and change. Now it gets an editing pass for the next 2 weeks, and off it goes to the real editor.
Well, that's awesome.
I think it is too. I think it's a great book. I'm going to have to rewrite the first scene because I'm not happy with it, but I knew that early. I just didn't want to stop writing to go back and fix it.
Yeah. Okay.
It starts off with a meeting. The Marines don't need to be in a meeting. They need to be shooting something.
You start off with something very, very calm, just everybody la, 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 la through the daisies.
Why have a scene where a meeting is talking about what went wrong in the training exercise when you can have things going wrong in the training exercise?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I put one of those. I put one of those in a book. It's like, why would we have this conversation? Why not just show it?
That's exactly what I realized. The problem is that when I start writing the books, I don't really know where they're going. So while I realized I needed to change it, it wasn't until I was 4 or 5 chapters in and I was like, yeah, I'm just still not happy with that opening.
I can see that. It can be really hard to figure out what the right scene is to start. Like I've said before, I start in the middle of books sometimes because it's just the scene where things started. And I realize there's more that happened before that I want to get into. That's not a bad way to do it. Well, it's a good thing you recognize it.
While this book is space opera with military science fiction mixed in, just like everything else that I write, this one needs to lean a little bit heavier into the Marines, so I need to show them fighting sooner rather than later. And when I started writing, I didn't know precisely what was going to be happening when. And so the actual Marines didn't get to a fight until later on in the book. Gotcha. So I need to give them a scene early on showing things going horribly wrong. And I can use that as a flashback when I get later in the book, because things will go just about as badly when they're fighting in almost the same way. So it'll work out for story-wise.
Yeah, it'll work out.
For most of them.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
That survive.
I got about 4,000 words on derelict shipyards this week. And I realized something. I had this little voice of Terry Mixon talking in the background going, I'm bored. Make something happen. And I went, oh, okay. Well, let's do something we haven't done in this book. So I basically started out with a bang and decided, like with Destruction, I'm going to write this entire portion between these two characters before I start on any other part of the book. Because I want to get this fleshed out and done, because it will help me with the timing of the other stuff. So that's the way I had to write Destructions. That's the way I'm doing things again today, or this time around with this book.
Realizing you're bored is a good thing, because then you can fix it.
It wasn't even that I was bored. It was that I didn't know how to go forward. And I was stuck. And I went, oh, well, this is a really good time to just completely F stuff up. So we have, because I need other stuff to show, and I need to kind of break up. And I've caused more problems. And one thing I didn't do is isolate many characters and derelicts. Now I'm isolating them. Because it's so much more fun when they're all alone in the dark. No sound. Any light will alert the enemy. Good times.
You never do anything like that, ever.
I never do anything.
So new.
No, it's just terrible anyway. So,
Nathan's asking if we have JR today or if he's still banned. He was in last week, so he's not banned. He's just not here.
He's just not here. Exactly.
It is kind of quiet without him, though, isn't it?
Well, it's usually because people are kicking him around. So more so than him actually, participating in anything. But that's just
he participates. Sort of.
So I finished the second book in the Remembrance of Earth's Past trilogy, which is, I did not know the official name of the Three-Body Problem, the Dark Forest, and whatever the third book's name is. So I finished the second book. Holy shit. I will reiterate, I cannot decide if this guy's a genius or a madman, but the way it was put together was really cool. It takes a little while to get going, but the Dark Forest is even more profoundly disturbing than the first one. In basically what it's saying at the end. So then the question becomes, Terry, should we really be talking to aliens? Should we really even be trying?
We're not going to want to know. We're not going to want to know what we hear. We're not going to want to hear what they're going to say.
It brings up the idea of cosmic sociology.
Do we have a cosmic social worker? That's what I need to know.
The idea of
yes, I believe.
The idea of cosmic sociology, and yes, Hawking said you do not want to meet these people. Cosmic sociology basically boils down to like three different axioms, which are basically the laws of predator prey. Predator-prey relationships in the scope of galaxies, interstellars, things like that, and the macroscope of the universe, as opposed to the microscope of it. And basically what it comes down to is, if you say, I'm here, someone could come knocking for all the reasons you don't think they're going to come knocking for.
Red Rover, Red Rover.
Yeah. So it brought up an interesting concept, which is and question, which is, if somebody signals back to you, what do you do? For instance, what would happen if we didn't send a message out to a certain star, had never sent anything out there, and suddenly we got a message from it? What would we do?
I can tell you what we do. Mass panic. It would be chaos. Have you ever seen It's a Mad, 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 Mad World?
Oh, absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
what would happen. That is exactly what would happen right there.
It is an interesting concept because the book brings up the question, not in the scope of let's push aside paltry human ethics for a moment and start talking about species, protecting the species ethics.
It's never going to happen.
What are you willing?
Conversation will never take place.
Why is that?
Because no one at all will ever agree on what's the right thing to do as a species. We can't agree what's the right thing to do for going for lunch.
I forget the debate part. I'm simply saying the question becomes, what is the right response for a species? Is that better? Because
sure,
you may hope for cooperation, but on a evolutionary scale, it is one of these deals where if I say hi to you, I may not hear from you for 100 years and you say hi back. By the time you said hi back, another 100 years have passed. I don't know how far your technology is going to get there, how far your technology is going to accelerate in the time between you hearing from me and me hearing from you.
Mm-hmm.
By that time, you could already have warships on your way to conquer my ass. Or by that time, I will have already built the warships to go conquer your ass, not because I need your resources, but because I don't want you to eventually come knocking on my door, doing to you exactly what I'm going to do to you, or doing to us exactly what we're going to do to you.
It's too late for us.
Oh yeah, we're boned.
If we were going to go ahead and have any control over that at all, we wouldn't have been sending out messages in the first place. It's far too late for us at this point because Lucille Ball is everywhere by now. Lucy, I'm home.
It's more, game theory, Tony. Thank you. It's more on the lines of we would have to beam an extremely powerful signal to really burst something out there so that a lot of people could see it, unless they were in the right place at the right time. So it just brings up some interesting ideas about even if there was a massive explosion in one particular galaxy or solar system that didn't look natural, then that would be an alert to anybody who is watching that system that something's going on there. Maybe they should check it out, or maybe they should just annihilate the system from afar just to be sure, nuke it from orbit. It's crazy.
If we were going to go ahead and have any control over something like that at all, if we received a message from someone else and not as a response to us, the right thing to do as human beings would be to design a transmitter that could respond to it and then send that transmitter far, far away, send our message to it and have it forward it to where we wanted to go.
Well, see, then that brings up a really cool idea too, which is if you were going to do that, if you're going to lay the bait, out there, you could use quantum entanglement with the bait. Mm-hmm. So no matter where the bait is, you have it. You don't need to know where it is. You just need to know it's out there. You'll always be permanently attached to it, but then it will be able to see whatever the hell is going to come for it. Be kind of a cool idea. It brings up the idea, and that's really baiting for alien species. That is a really strange idea, but I could see Eternals doing it.
One of the things that David Weber did in one of his early series is the universe was being scoured clean of life by basically these nomadic high-tech species that would just make passes through the galactic arms. And if it found life that looked like it might be sentient, it would bomb it into the Stone Age.
Yes.
And then it would move on.
Yes.
And come back.
Then it would move on.
But they missed a world, and humanity was able to build an empire, build technology, build weapons. They put out all these high-tech listening posts to watch for the enemy to come. And then, unfortunately, they killed themselves. All that was left were the listening posts and the computers and Earth,
Ooh.
which was not a planet that was high technology at all anyway. It was an outlier somewhere along the way. So what would happen is one of the listening posts would detect the enemy coming, and then it would troll them in with transmissions and technology just so it could get information from them before it was destroyed and send that information on.
Interesting. It just brought up a very, my answer to this question is we really do not want to be advertising that. And
it's too late. We've already had the house party going on for like a week. Everybody knows we're here now.
And Voyager's been going on for how long? Beaming its bullshit out there? Been a long time. It still hasn't made it out of the Oort cloud, though.
Voyager has made it outside the solar system. It crossed the boundary, and so did Voyager 2. They're out. They're gone.
I'm dubious.
Well, they have a very good scientific reasoning for saying that, because you're familiar with what the heliosphere is, are you not?
I know the reasoning behind it. It's just that
they crossed over the boundary, so the sun is no longer, the pressure from the sun is no longer paramount. It's the stuff outside that is now paramount. So they've crossed the boundary.
Just last time they crossed the boundary, it was 6 months later, and they went, "No, wait, we haven't crossed the boundary."
Well, they're pretty sure that they have.
Well, then maybe they have this time.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't know. But in any case, they're gone. They're not coming back. They'll be long dead before they get anywhere, and they're not really transmitting. They're more like scanning.
If I remember correctly, one's blind and the other one's deaf.
They rebooted some of the scientific instruments on one of them, so I think that they're not quite blind. They're just using, really, really old technology.
No, they said one had failed in such a way that it was deaf, and the other one was blind. Was essentially the way they put it. But between the two of you, you had all the sensors. So I thought that was really funny and also really sad. But what happens when a really high advanced technological society who's got, microfusion drives, or maybe they're using gravitic waves or some crap like that, comes across this bucket, that looks like it was made with super glue, because it's been out there for so long, her piece is flaking off, the equipment barely works, they capture it, it's working on some ancient technology, it's practically dead, and they sit there and they go, who in the effing hell built this? What species? And are they still around? Voyager 13, is that billion? I can't count that. I can't count that in the mini zeros.
That's trillion.
Okay. Trillion, yeah. All right. That's a long way out.
13.8 trillion miles out.
Sounds like our deficit. Hey ho. Anyway,
Oh,
and the other one's 11 trillion. Almost 11 and a half. Shit. Just think about that kind of distance. But communication between folks, when you're talking about the stars, it's kind of scary how long it takes. If you're not going to use something like quantum entanglement, which has a problem because somebody has to actually exist at the other side and know where that is, don't they? To start it.
Yeah, Veronica's right. Those poor creatures, we have to help them build a better communication device versus those poor creatures, let's colonize their world and use them as food supplies.
Or
I know which Paul would choose.
There's the third option.
And what's that?
Hey, there's this termite hill over there. Firebomb it from afar, would you?
So long, and thanks for the fish.
Yeah, exactly. We have this wonderful cultural idea that the aliens are going to come down and they're going to be fucking ET and cooperate with us or whatever else, maybe lay down some laws for us and leave, Basically be Alexander the Great as he was going through Afghanistan. I am your new leader. Go about your business. Okay. Yeah. All right. You're already. What the fuck is wrong with this guy?
If they show up at all, it's going to be like V.
Oh, God. Why would you show up as humanoids anyway?
Oh, I don't say that they're going to be humanoid, but they'd want something. If they're going to come all this way, they want something.
Yeah.
It's not going to be out of the goodness of their heart.
No. There's going to be the tax you have to pay. Then again, who the hell knows? Maybe we're completely wrong. Maybe no one responds to us because they don't think we're worth a reply. After all, we live in the boonies of the Milky Way.
We live in the area where they lock their doors when they drive by.
Xenophilia. Among the humans or among the aliens? And the answer to both is yes. Oh, interesting. Arrive and we all die to some alien disease we have no immunity to. I've been wondering about that too.
We'd have to have something remotely like a compatible biosphere for that to work.
I actually would be much happier if our biospheres were not compatible in any way, shape, fashion, or form.
So the silicon monsters come.
I still have not been able to get
the chlorids. The chlorids arrive.
Exactly what those things would look like. Xenophilia is really like Buddhism.
I'm pretty sure that when you add philia at the end, it's no longer, becoming really friendly with aliens at that point.
I'm just going to fuck your Zen right here.
Thanks for going there. Screamer.
Oh, shit. Tony brings up the point, or we're so fundamentally different that communication between human and alien is impossible. Yeah, that's also a possibility. Maybe they're just in the dimension a few removed from us and we can't see them. And they can't really see us. We need to be able to demonstrate math in a way they understand. Yeah, it'd be like 1 + 1. Philia is liking, phobia is hating. Right. Oh, God. Another cat has appeared. We went way off the rails really fast.
On the talk about reading books, I said last week that I was going to go ahead and read Horus Rising, and I did try. I started reading it, and then I just I cannot continue. Maybe somebody would like this book, but it was not me.
Pacing,
the characters were flat. It wasn't appealing as far as the story being told. And I never even really got into any of the bad stuff. I never got to the grimdark. It was just, I won't say it was bad. It definitely was not to my taste. The author's style of writing that story just didn't work for me.
Nah.
Lots of action, no real connection to the characters at all.
That's unfortunate.
It is. I've got the first 15 books in the series, and now I'm not going to read them. Too bad.
Is there such a thing as gifting?
I bought it as part of a Humble Bundle. So
yeah.
It's too late now. I've had them for like a year and a half, 2 years.
So just give them to somebody else.
I can't do that. That's not how the licensing works on that. I bought them. I can't just pass the books around. That's not how it works.
Well, if you're not going to read them,
they will be lost forever.
As a writer, I understand where they're coming from. As a publisher, I understand where they're coming from. And as a reader, I understand where I'm coming from.
I do understand where you're coming from, but it's one of those things you don't buy it and then you share it around with everybody. That's not how it works. That's not how intellectual property works.
No.
Ebooks.
Yeah, ebooks. If they were paperbacks, that would be a different thing. Completely. Or something.
Tony agrees. It takes a long time for them to build character connections in the series. A long.
So second thing I was thinking about this weekend, that also comes from the Dark Forest, is one of the characters says something about, don't tell me where we are. If I know where I am, the world is a map, as opposed to being open and filled with possibility.
Maybe.
Says the pantser.
I like to know where I am, because life is a journey. If you're not in a specific place, you're nowhere.
The reason why I brought that up is it's more along the lines of you're taking it too literally, and I think it was meant to be more allegorical in a sense.
I can see the allegory in that.
So that whole book is like that. It's got a lot of crazy shit like that makes so much more sense later as to why it's there. Stop talking about my shoulder blades.
It's like his alien, it has this like crest behind him.
When I heard that line, my immediate thought was, oh, like a pantser. The character is basically saying that knowing where you are puts constraints down on what possibilities can be. So in other words, if I want to go on an adventure, it makes a lot more sense for me to want to go somewhere where I don't know where I am, just to get lost, because it means that there's so much more that could happen and I have no expectations. Whereas if I know that I'm going to Steamboat Springs, I have expectations.
I can see that.
Well,
I don't necessarily agree with it, but I do see it.
I see it in writing all the damn time. So is it more difficult, well, you're not even a good example because you effed up all the time. Is it easier to basically, if you're going to write a series, to just not even bring up Earth, not even bring up any sense of humanity, just pretend that it didn't never even happen, that the solar system is not our birthplace, that there are none of those conditions?
It certainly worked for Star Wars.
Star Wars is fantasy, not science fiction.
No, but it's far future sort of stuff there. But you can definitely write far past, far future, whatever you want to call it. But you can go ahead and have a story that has no connection to Earth, to humans, and write it that way. There are plenty of universes that do, and that works. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yes, but does doing that for you from certain constraints?
No.
No?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't. Whether I wrote a series where Earth was known, or I wrote a different series where Earth was not known and was never part of the picture, I would be under the same level of constraints in either case. Who cares? That's my answer. Sotera's there. Who cares? I just don't get the picture. Why does it matter?
I think it has an impact on how the society can function.
Really?
Yeah.
Why would you say that?
Because when we write today, we keep projecting today forward. If there was no today, as in the social norms and mores and taboos that we have experienced or that we know of in our history didn't exist, you'd be starting over from scratch.
You certainly wouldn't be, because you can't write a fiction story that is totally unmoored from the readers. You're going to have those constraints, whether you are writing far future, far past, Earth is there, Earth is not there. You cannot escape them.
I think what you can do is you can pick and choose what you want.
You could do that anyway.
No, you really can't. There are some fundamental core ones that you can't get away from.
So tell me one of those core ones.
Core ones is species wide. I don't even want to get into that. Let's say that there was never religion.
That's not going to happen with humanity, no matter where you are.
We didn't say humanity.
You did. You said humans. There is humanity. They may not have an Earth, but there's going to be humanity.
Now we're nitpicking like crazy.
I absolutely don't. I don't believe that at all. One of the things with religion, let's look at it purely as if religion was untrue. I'm not going to make a judgment call on that because I have my own beliefs.
And I just threw that out as a
I know, but if you are a being that does not live forever, odds are you're going to want to have some type of way of protecting yourself intellectually and emotionally from the fact that you're going to end. And religion fills that role. I believe that if you're an alien, you're going to have your version of religion, whatever that version may be. It may not be widespread, but it's going to exist.
Okay. I'm saying that none of our trappings of religion exist.
Well, I agree with that, because obviously, if you're not having humans or you don't have an Earth, it would have to be different. You'd have to make it up, but it would still exist
in some form or fashion, but you could choose to eliminate it.
No,
because it has. You can also talk about stuff that has no analog.
Sure, like what?
Road rage.
That's got an analog.
There's no such thing as road rage in space unless you were at a docking point and you're a docking pilot. There's no such thing otherwise.
Have you ever read anything that has fighter pilots in it? I assure you there is road rage.
Yeah, that's different. That's different. That's completely different. I'm talking about we're not talking about pilots. We're talking about ships that are going to go so many kilometers, millions of kilometers before they even see another ship.
Problem is for you, man.
Huh?
You're still unmoored from reality. You're not actually on the map. You don't actually have this one spot on the map where you are right now. So you're saying everything is a possibility rather than narrowing it down to having some specifics in your point of view. You keep bouncing around.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Oh, we don't have to have road rage. We don't have fighter pilots. Nobody mentioned anything about this.
No. Stop. You talked about fighter pilots. I was saying that they're just road rage is not analogous in this instance. You can't have road rage if everything's in space. How would you have road rage even today if everything was in space? Unless
it would be space rage.
Unless
fine.
Oh my God. Unless you're at a fucking space station and fucking docking, you're not going to see anybody else. You're going to be kilometers, hundreds of thousands of kilometers from other people. How can there be road rage?
You're going to have a close call to that asteroid. You're going to be shaking your tentacle at it. And that's what's going to happen.
I give up. I just give
up. You should give up.
I'm going to give up.
Never mind. Forget it.
To get back to what you're saying.
In a congested city with flying cars, there would be road rage. Dude, there wouldn't be no road rage because there'd only be 2 flying cars left. Because all the other ones would have been destroyed or crashed.
All right, folks. Rather than me arguing with Paul, let's take a poll. Let's take a poll. Does anybody think Paul is right here? Anybody?
And I'm not saying you can't have any touchstones because I understand you have to have them. I'm simply saying eliminating certain ones completely.
I'm not trying to rain on your parade.
You're not raining on my parade. We're having a discussion.
I think you're being way too vague. It's hard to, when you've got no details. When you have a setting, you can know whether something exists, but it's still all very nebulous at this point. It's hard to argue the point of whether or not it would be analogous to something here on Earth or not when we don't have the details.
Okay, fine. I have no details at hand. I was simply talking about then never mind. We're just going to get lost here.
Oh, what Sue said. That's rough.
Yeah. All of you can just get fucked. Flying cars would have a sophisticated computer control system. Rick, I still think the best XKCD ever is where somebody is talking about, do you want AI on your car? And the other person puts, the arm around them and says, I want to tell you why that's a bad idea. First of all, we're not very good at our jobs. Second of all,
William agrees with you, kind of.
I'll have to come up with a specific example. The sophisticated computer control system on which you say is all wonderful and great until there's, the blue screen of death. And then you crash.
Wait, what about The Fifth Element? Isn't there road rage there? That movie is pretty much all road rage if you really get down to it.
That movie is. And I was not talking about flying in a fucking city. But never mind that. We're dropping it.
Maybe if you specified where we were flying, rather than just anywhere, the generic anywhere.
If we weren't good at computer control, SpaceX wouldn't work. That is completely different. That is not autonomous.
Maybe one of your personalities could have road rage.
personality's got podcast rage right now. If you get ragey flying by yourself, you may have issues. You may have a lot. What about flying in a city in space? Are you really? I was thinking about this the other day. Are you flying if you're in space? Are you flying?
Have you ever read the
Aren't
novel
you
by
sailing?
James?
Doesn't that make more sense? Aren't you sailing, not flying?
There was a book by James Blish. There was a bunch of novellas called Cities in Flight, where they invented this space drive called spin dizzies. And basically, cities on Earth would start this engine up, and it would create a sphere that basically picked the entire city up, and it could fly off into space. So like New York was flying through space.
Okay.
The city of New York.
Okay.
So there, cities can fly.
All right. Doesn't answer my question, but okay. What's the proper word? I think sailing makes more sense than flying for space.
I could deal with that.
Flying involves air. Ain't no air. Ain't no water either, but still.
Why would they call it space flight then?
Because they're stupid and they had no analogy. They had no analogy to work.
No.
And they needed something that an average 3-year-old could understand. That's why.
Oh, man. I answered the question.
Answer what question?
They can have flight because they have space flight. That's all right. I'll let it go.
Hopeless. Absolutely hopeless. The end of Avengers Age of Ultron. I have no idea what they're talking about.
They did kind of raise a city up into the sky.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Powered equal fly, orbit, drift equals sail.
I could buy with that. Although sailing ships, they're more at the whims of the environment than something that's powered. So I could split that difference.
But in a way, you're also if you're unpowered in space, you are also kind of at the whim of the environment.
True. There's a subgenre of science fiction books that are basically sailing ships in space. I've read a number of them. You're muted. You're not speaking anymore.
That's a thing?
It's a thing.
A specific subgenre.
I don't know that it's a specific subgenre, but I've read a number of different series that are very much like that. David Drake's Daniel Leary series is very much in the frame of those type of things. Alexis Carew is the character. I can't remember what the series is, but it is also very much sailing in space because they've got masts and riggers and everything else. So it's a thing.
Yeah, the ship is a light sail powered by a huge laser in the solar system. Yes.
In the Alexis Carew thing, basically it uses dark matter as the sailing method, or the dark matter is the shoals, and it's all very figured out. When you're in normal space, you can use real technology. When you're in whatever the other space, only the very most basic technologies work. So it has to be very sail powered, muscle powered sort of thing.
Ether punk.
I would buy that, but it would have to have magic to be ether punk.
That's a pretty cool idea. Yeah, Nathan Lowell does solar sails. Solar sails make a lot of sense. A lot of sense. So do ion drives. I think the two together make really good ideas for long powered space flight. You still need something to kick you in the ass to get going, though. That's where the G-forces come in and kill you. So, sailing. Yeah,
I'm grabbing the book here. I'm not going to be able to put the book link in there, but you can. I
don't want to put your stupid link in there.
Oh, you're just mean.
Am I really?
You kind of are.
That'd be really interesting if the astronomers were looking out there and saw this humongous sheet and went, yeah, there's a solar sail out there about 3,000 cubic square kilometers, 3 million square kilometers big.
Well, they had that object that went around the sun that some scientists said it was behaving weirdly. It might have been a solar sail at some point. So could be
Wahoo or whatever his name is. There we go.
Yeah, I can't pronounce it either. But look at the cover on that. Definitely sailing ships in space.
Oh, God. Oh, that's crazy. That just does not look right at all. Terry ripped his rotator cuff. I'm going crazy with stress. That's how we're going. That's how we're doing. We're both healthy, I think, other than that.
We're as healthy as we can be at our respective ages.
Respective ages.
Youngin.
Whatever. Like whatever.
You're like a decade younger than me. You're a youngin.
Not quite, but close. Castaways with solar sails. I'm liking that idea.
It says, okay, boomers. I'm a boomer. Paul is not a boomer.
Paul is not even close to being a boomer. Treasure Planet? Really?
Sure. Yeah, Treasure Island, but in space.
Okay.
Sort of.
Okay. There's another interesting question. If we were to settle, humans, that is, if we were to settle on a planet with water, for instance, if we had high tech, would we still use boats?
Of course we would.
Why?
Because it's function that details what the form will be. We can't breathe underwater. It's faster to move on top of it. So obviously you're going to have some form of boat because that's just the way physics works.
Yes, but you could fly from one area to the other.
Sure, but high technology items on a colony world are going to be a lot harder to come by than boats.
Ah, yes. Okay, now we get to the crux of it. How long does it take once you settle on a planet for it to become no longer a colony, but actually move into a city that's actually self-sufficient, doesn't have to rely upon supply drops from out in space and et cetera, and can actually move up the technology tree?
That is a very relative sort of thing. It could be whatever specified amount of time you want. It depends on how much support you have, how long it takes you to grow your population. And you could be self-sufficient, but still not high technology for centuries.
True.
You're going to be very low population to begin with, most likely, and that makes it harder.
So do things like 3D printers and, pop-up hydroponics and things like that, does that allow you to go, further out faster? Does that allow you to get much faster and get over some of those hurdles quicker?
It probably would, but quicker is a relative sort of term. Again, it could take centuries.
Didn't someone in Facebook ask about launch strategies?
Yeah, book launch strategies.
Oh, boy.
That assumes that any of us have a strategy.
Well, only one of us has successful book launches. So, Terry, take it.
I'm not sure that I would say that I'm a good example of successful book launches. I have an audience, and that certainly helps. Craig Martell has a series of books on writing, and one of them is about release strategies. And I would recommend reading that because I certainly am going to be doing that again to refresh myself on what's going on. Getting the word out is the important part for release strategies, because if you just publish a book and then you don't announce it, did it really happen? For example, does anyone know that I published 2 omnibuses about 3 weeks ago? Probably not, because I never made a big deal about it, and I should have. So they kind of went out there, and now they're just sitting there.
Schmuck. And why haven't you said anything about them?
I'm not sure. I know that the box sets definitely get a lot of attention on Audible. I don't see that same sort of thing really with the ebook. not in sales, because they're behind the power curve of new releases. So they don't get a lot of action. But Audible, it's like they're new releases and they do get action.
Gotcha.
And I really don't understand the difference between them, but I see them as being a necessary thing to have for the audio, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
No, it does. It does. I think the ability to listen to, well, the ability to mainline a bunch of audiobooks at once, especially if you know the author and you like their stuff, is for one credit is a pretty big drive. Or for, $30, whatever they charge for it. It's a pretty big.
The party's over. JR's here.
Ah, shit. Damn it. Pepperidge Farm remembers. Is there going to be a science fiction version of Pepperidge Farm? Is there going to be
Amish in space?
like in Futurama, Slurm Cola is like everywhere and everything. It's one of the big jokes. What kind of brands are going to be out there? Is it going to be Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy style, or is it going to be more conservative?
Phoenix asks, how long should someone wait before releasing box sets after the singles are out? I tend to wait a couple of books, at least 2, because the first 3 books generally still get good action with new releases. Go figure. But that's just me. That's not necessarily saying that what I'm doing is the right thing. It works for me. I can't guarantee how it's going to work for you. You may find something much better than me. And if you do, I'm very happy for you.
Will there be capitalism or communism in space? Yes.
There are going to be things that we can't possibly understand in space.
I think really it kind of depends. If you look at a wartime economy, it gets closer to socialist communist regime as far as everybody trying to punch in the resources. I imagine if, for instance, we had to get the hell off of Earth, there would kind of be a really big change in how we think and how we do things. If everything is stable and people are able to do merchant style stuff, then that is what they're going to do, because everybody needs everybody else's resources.
I like what Nathan is saying. There might just be one state products, like state licensed cola. So we could have Murica Cola.
Oh. Oh.
All the fizz you can stand.
It's going to taste like that BK or whatever the fuck it is, which is really just Coke that's flat. At the factory, they repackage.
What did you just DK? What did you just call it?
Big K Cola or
Big
whatever
K.
the hell it is.
Yeah. Okay. Now I know what we're talking about.
The cast-offs that are barely carbonated. But hey, when you got no mixer, it will do it a pinch. It will do it a pinch.
You could be a rebel and have your own soda stream at home.
Hey, RC Cola is the real thing, man. RC Cola is the real thing. I like RC. RC's good stuff.
As opposed to Tab.
Oh God, no! Oh my God! Oh!
I know, right? Who can imagine anyone actually drinking this stuff? It's like spam. How does it even exist?
I after all the bullshit that went on in the 80s, I can't believe saccharin is still out there in cola. That thing even existed. Oh well, whatever. RC Cola and a moon pie. So many stereotypes just jumped into my head. I don't even know where to start. It's so sad. Oh,
Twinkies
God.
will be around forever because they never actually decay.
This is like in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where every species, every society has a drink called gin and tonic. It's not the same drink, but they always have one called the same thing. An RC Cola and Moon Pie Festival somewhere.
I believe it. I totally believe it. Moon pies are actually pretty good, really.
Moon pies.
I'm not going to say that about RC Cola, though. I don't know. I think I want the real cola.
It's like the only time when I ate pork rinds and moon pies and stuff like that was when I was a kid and we went on hunting trips.
I ate
back when I
pork
was like
rinds as a
11
kid.
or
They
12.
were pretty good.
Yeah. That is just scary. Everybody has a moon pie story.
I got my latest Kickstarter from one of the RPG Kickstarters that I supported. I've been reading on those.
Beneath the Monolith. That sounds like a possible literary work, or maybe a romance. Beneath
in a way, the landscape that role-playing game is set in is a lot like what you were talking about earlier, with something totally divorced from really humankind in a way. Because in that world, it's set up like a science fantasy. It's so far future that there have been 9 incredibly high-tech civilizations that have either left or come apart or whatever. And so the world that this takes place in is littered with the refuse of high-tech things that no one understands.
So it's Gamma World, essentially.
It's much weirder than Gamma World because they're like combinations of biologics and technical things powered by things that no one can understand. That's almost like magic.
The Expanse.
It's basically like magic.
It's the Expanse.
I should find a picture. I'm sure they've got a nice monster picture. I haven't even cracked the tome open to see, but I bet if I open it, I'll find some monster somewhere.
The fact that you called it a tome, just immediately puts me on guard. Is this going to be a large enough book to swap people or what?
Yeah, I would say that there's something there, but I can't find a monster. But I'll look while we're doing this here.
Terry really needs to get his props in order before a show starts, I don't want to meet that in a dark alley. It looks terrifying.
It doesn't really have eyes that I can see.
Isn't that a helmet?
Ooh, there's one for you. I like the artwork in this particular sort of thing. Can you see that?
Sort of, kind of. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right.
But yeah.
Okay, so very interesting mix of stuff, kind of like riffs or whatever.
Yeah. But I've decided to support these because maybe one of these days I'll write something science fantasy. And I like to see what the marketplace is actually bearing as far as that goes.
And I wonder what that... It's always interesting when we talk about the markets, taking a look at what is selling, just out of curiosity, because I know it just kind of moves all over the place. Trends just kind of keep coming up and down. I just keep thinking cyberpunk is going to really rise up here pretty fast, very soon.
You sure that cyberpunk hasn't, just totally gone out of scale already? It's just like, who cares anymore? It's like reality. Nobody, nothing.
I think the old Gibson style stuff is more or less gone, but I think a new realm of it is opening up. I may be wrong. We'll see.
You're talking Shadowrun, basically.
Yeah, I think that more or less that is coming back. Or maybe the more geeky side of things, more Neuromancer, less...
Chris Fox's Magitech Chronicles, science fantasy.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. Cyberpunk is reality. As far as the setup for how the corporations work...
Take the red pill.
Yeah, take the red pill. Take the red pill. Take the blue pill. Take the red pill. Take the blue pill.
What happens if somebody eats them both? That's what I want to know. Because some moron would do that.
And is there a pill dispenser somewhere? I mean, where do they get these things? Just kind of jump up? Is that part of the deal before they enter the Matrix? They go into the preparatory room?
It's the Morpheus dispenser.
The Morpheus dispenser. Take the plaid pill. Suddenly, Morpheus becomes Willie from The Simpsons.
I really need to rewatch the Matrix movie. I'm going to ignore the sequels because I just don't care.
And how the hell do the 3 seashells work? Right. Yes.
He's in a totally different universe.
He is. He's talking about an episode we were dealing with about, 7 episodes ago. 7 weeks ago. He's just now catching up.
He's a little bit behind.
The red blue pill. I'm glad somebody knew what song I was talking about. It's is that on the Animatrix soundtrack? I can't remember. It's on one of those. Another really, really good one. Really good stuff. Do not try to watch the sequels.
Rick is exactly correct. Do not try
Yeah,
to
pretty
watch the
much.
sequels because clearly that is impossible. Instead, try to realize there are no sequels.
Yeah, I like that.
It's too bad that actually took place in a sequel, so now I have to pretend it never happened.
Kazaa or LimeWire? Yeah, that sounds right. I can't remember. Honestly, can't remember. Oh, well. I do not know anything. I only know I want to be writing more. That requires me to
Says
get
that
more
scene
sleep.
is from the first. Was it? I don't know. I thought it was from the second.
Which scene?
It's been a while. It's been about, God, it feels like 20 years since I've seen The Matrix, so I don't know.
Which scene were you
There is
talking
no
about?
spoon.
Oh, yeah, that's the first one.
Is it the first one? I thought it was from
Yeah,
the
that's
second.
the first one. No. That's why in the second or the third one, I guess it's the second one, somebody gives him that spoon in real world. I remember the movies for some reason. That's scary.
They were very groundbreaking in their time.
Well, the first one was absolute Shatterstorm. It was just wonderful. Plus the special effects that gave birth to a ton of stuff. Bullet time. The Matrix brought us bullet time, and now we can't get rid of it.
And who would want to?
die.
Who would want to get rid of it?
Oh,
now
God.
we need to use the bullet time just for like somebody getting their coffee.
I wonder about the day it's going to get to that point where some asshole is going to make a movie that everything is in bullet time. Every time they do something, everything's in bullet time.
That would be awesome.
It would be satire from hell.
It
So yeah,
would be.
grinding the coffees in bullet time. Somebody do this. If I had the know-how, I would do this.
I personally think they made a mistake with the Oracle. They should have made the Oracle instead of, this little old lady wherever. It should have been like a fat guy with a cigar in a pawn shop.
Dear God, why?
Because that would have been much more fun.
I don't know. I like the grandmother of the old lady. I like that. It would be Bollywood. Welcome to Rivendell, Mr. Anderson. Oh, that's right. Yeah. The schism between, or the mental discordance between Hugo Weaving as the agent and being the elf, high elf, and the Tolkien.
The half elf.
Half elf, whatever the hell it was. When does the evil Mr. Rogers take over and Taco Bell win the restaurant wars?
JR is still a few episodes back. We're going to ignore him.
Yeah, he's still catching up. We have no idea why. Why would you put a fat old guy in what'd you say? Smoking a cigar in a pawn shop. Why? Why a pawn shop?
Because I could just see that would be a fun Oracle to have, waving the cigar around, talking like a New Yorker. That would have been exciting.
What's wrong with the grandmother and the cookies?
I just preference.
Interesting. In these lit RPGs, do they ever go off to the store or whatever and raid the merchants or do something like that?
I have seen that happen.
Okay.
It didn't end up anything like what the guy was thinking it would, but I've seen it happen.
It rarely does.
Pawn Stars Oracle Edition.
Oracle, right. Gotcha. All right.
Best I can give you for that blue pill is $20. We'll credit JR with that.
All right, what else do you people got? We've been here an hour.
They should ask us questions. Then we can pretend like we know something to answer them.
If you couldn't tell, I'm freaking brain blown. It's been a long, long week of code. I still managed to get writing done, which even I am amazed by. Dead air. Talk, Terry. Figure something out to say. Say something. Can't just look at each other.
You're going to have to do something with your beard. Are you about ready to start braiding it so it can look like Gimli?
It's still not there yet. It's still got a long way to go. I mean,
I don't think they have any questions.
I don't think I do either. I'm leaving Sunday for Austin, so I'll be there for all of next week. So this shit just keeps on coming.
No, JR, I don't add short stories to all of them. I did to the first couple, and then I didn't for the last one. And I just don't know that no one ever really mentioned the short stories to me. So it didn't seem like it was adding too much value. At this point, they're either engaged or they're not. It's books 6 through 9 in that omnibus. So
omnibuy. What's my favorite language? I assume you're talking about other than English. Python is my favorite right now, but I'm coding between Python and JavaScript, and I constantly get lost between the two these days. But yeah, Python is my guy.
What kind of download bonuses are good ideas? Prequels. If you've got a prequel novella, that's a good reader magnet.
Or another
future of publishing after COVID-19, when all of the major publishers have gone out of business and Barnes and Noble has gone under? I have no idea. It's still too much in flux to know what's going on.
Yeah,
I think indies are on the rise.
I haven't seen the updates, any updates from the publishing stuff. I know I saw that one article like 2 weeks ago, but I haven't seen anything since. But in all truth, I haven't been looking either. It'll be fun to see if that's the way it's going to be. You should, Mr. West, play with Python. Python 3 is a joy. It's wonderful. Small presses. Yeah, I think small presses are going to come back in a big way.
Why do you say not indies, JR? I think indies are going to do just fine. Why do you disagree? While he's thinking about that, Veronica asked, if you commission fan art of any of your characters, who would it be and what style? It would be Kelsey in armor with herself all messed up looking for some payback. The cost seems to be getting higher. What is your cost as an indie? I don't know that I agree with what you're saying.
Oh, cost to be seen. In other words,
that's going to be true.
Et cetera. Yeah.
Well, advertising is the future, my friend.
The other stores are going to make moves to cut into Amazon's share of the market.
I say good luck. That sure didn't work out for everybody trying to cut into Amazon's shares during the pandemic. They didn't have the infrastructure to fight.
That's going to be the part that's missing, or that is the part that is missing. Yeah, I know what he means. Small presses, because they have access to more money, can actually do that. If somebody's got money in the bank, they have more chances of getting into a book bub or something like that. So I understand what he means. Small presses have a just from a mass standpoint, have a better chance of getting folks in than probably the average indie can afford.
See, the thing is, though, they could still only afford to get in specific works. They would have to pick the winners and the losers.
Well, true. Oh, he says marketing costs have gone way up. Yeah. JR says covers about $300 and the editing is about $1,200 before launching, and that is with no room for audiobooks.
It's not cheap. Not if you want to do a Class A product. This is true, but it's always been true that way. You can get by with a terrible cover and poor editing, and you'll just drop out of sight. That's always been the case. It's getting to be more so now that we're not in the wild, wild west of the beginning of the ebooks anymore. This is normal business now. You've got to behave like it's a real business and you're a pro. And that takes money, unfortunately.
Yep. Amazon is rumored to buy Simon & Schuster.
Maybe. I know that I've heard that rumor go around, but I don't know that it's anything serious behind it.
That might actually make sense.
Say that again?
I said that might actually make sense.
Okay.
Because they get the catalog.
It's true.
And they could even make that catalog exclusive if they want to be real dicks. depending on how they wanted to do things. But that also means they get the contracts with the writers.
It's true.
Food for thought. Food for thought. That actually kind of makes sense. Sue would argue that there are indie cover designers and editors that would cut those expenses in half. Yeah.
I know that I would not pay $1,200 for editing. At the most, for what I'm doing, this current book, I'm going to be paying around $800
for editing.
Yes, but I do a copy editing pass and then a proofreading pass afterwards, and that's what ends up being $800 for me. But then again, it's good for me because I don't want lots of changes to my words. I'm an experienced author at this point. I don't want somebody messing with my voice.
Right.
That's the struggle.
Has there been any move on Amazon's attempt to get more audiobook narrators? There was a rumor of them starting a school for it.
I hadn't even heard that rumor.
I get emails all the time from them about ACX school and all this other kind of crap because, yeah, they're trying to find more narrators.
106,000 words, Sue.
2 cents a word.
No, it's not 2 cents a word.
No, he's talking about his price or
Mine
what
is
he's paying.
0.00725, I think, for the combined.
The combined?
Well, for the combined copy editing and proofreading.
Gotcha.
It's a package.
Right. Yes. You found somebody to go through as a package. Correct.
I've been using Redadept since the beginning, and that's who I continue to use.
Yeah, ACX University. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, development edits will kill you, I would imagine, on pricing. And that's got to be the most expensive.
That would be very expensive. And there's a point where, as a writer, you get to the point where you don't need to have that level of editing, and you can move down to something else. I've been self-editing myself, multiple passes, and then just paying for a proofreading. And when I talked with Lynn at Redadept about it, and she was shocked that I hadn't had anyone edit it. She had no idea. She said, you can usually tell when a book has come in, it hasn't been through a separate editor. And I'd been fooling her. So apparently I'm writing well enough to get by with that when I spend the time to do the editing. I'm just trying to balance out my workload at this point.
Right. That's going to be the trick, right? Always the trick. If you get far enough along where you're not afraid of getting those first passes done by yourself, then when you do give it to an editor, they're going to be happier and charge you less if they don't have to change as much or work on it as much. So the more work you do before it gets to them, the cheaper it's going to get.
Sue says she typically charges $7 for 1,000 words for a polish. I don't even know what a polish is. A lot of the editing terms, I hear them go by and I'm like, I still don't really know what that is. But I've got roughly now at this point 18 books that I've ran through Redadept, so I know what I'm getting with the services. I've tried them enough, so I have a clue what I'm paying for. But when I hear the words, I'm like, what's that mean?
Polish or Polish? Stop that, Rick.
A cross between a copy edit and a proofread.
Yeah.
Okay. Something in between then. So like intermediate edit. I don't know. It's all very confusing to me as a non-editor.
I know what Sue does. She goes through your manuscript, calls out questions, yells at you for some things if you're falling into bad habits, and then proofs your shitty writing where there is shitty writing.
She charges extra for lecturing you.
Yes. Actually, no. If you let her lecture, if you let her lecture you, she gives you a discount. That's right. That's right. If you let her nag you, it's less money. She's gonna kick my ass. Does she threaten to cut you? Yes, all the time, all the damn time. It's a benefit. Yeah, if you find an editor you're comfortable with, man, it is a lovely thing because if they're really, if you can get to the point where you got somebody who can be very, very objective about your work, then they can call you on your bullshit. And, hopefully if you get called enough on it enough times, you start believing that maybe there's something there that you need to look at because it's bothering the editor in a big, big way. It's always your decision, but maybe you should actually listen. So if they take that kind of stance towards your work, I think you're in good shape. Yeah. JR, editors, priced yourself out of your wheelhouse. If you go back,
is very intensive, and it's going to cost money to get good product out of it. In the beginning, during the Wild Wild West, you could find people that would do it for a lower price, but they're realizing the value of their time, and they're doing a business too.
Back in the day, 80s, 90s, before the media monopoly went into full swing, there was all this chatter about how annoying it was that an author would go to a certain publishing house and they would find an editor they liked, work with them for like a year or maybe 2 books, something like that. And then that editor would go. They would get bounced for whatever reason, either promoted or that they made an enemy at work or whoever knew. And then the editor was gone. And I've always thought about it as like you're like a college player with football coaches. The football coach recruits you, and that's the coach you're going to see go next 4 years, the person you want and everything else. And then suddenly 2 years into your career, they're gone to another school for more money. And now you're stuck.
And you'd have to play against them, and they're going to know all your ins and outs, and they're going to hose you up.
I don't think that's the case in the particular analog that I'm talking about, but the bottom line is you are stuck until your term runs out. You are stuck with whoever they give you. It's kind of a problem. You better at solo publishing? Are you better at solo publishing your short stories or bundling a collection? Are you better off? Do you mean?
I think that's it. But let me wrap up what we're talking there. You're going to have to find the comfortable medium between what you're willing to pay and the services you want to get, because it's not going to be perfect no matter how you play it. You're going to have to pay more than you would like, and you're probably going to get a little less than you wished you'd gotten. And you just have to find where you're comfortable with that and roll with it.
Yeah. Are you better at, I think he's saying, are you better off solo publishing your short stories or bundling a collection?
Since I haven't published any of my short stories since I took the first 2 down, I'm a lousy person to answer that question. But when I get around to republishing them, I will probably do them in a collection, because it still really breaks my bones to think about charging $2.99 for a short story.
Yeah, that's a big problem I have with that. Technically, all the Garagas stuff is all short stories. Both books are just collections of all the Garagas tales. I think it just depends on what you're talking about. I haven't really seen, apart from Scott Sigler, people have much success with the bundles of short stories, and I think that's mainly because of his group, if you will.
Thinking about it, JR says he sells his for 99 cents. And my initial response was, well, you'll get 1/6 of the profit that you would get from $2.99 because it's only at 35% on Amazon. But the short stories would probably be wide. And I think if you go through draft to digital, they still pay you the full 70 cents, the 70%, even on the stuff that's 99 cents. So that may be a better way to do about it. You've got to look at that, make sure that I'm not saying something that isn't true, but there's one of the distributors that you can get 70%, and I would be willing to sell it for 99 cents for a short story if I got more of the money.
Well, more money than no money is always better.
Veronica says you can have a bundle of short stories that spin off from an established universe. And I am almost to the point now where I have 10 stories that are in Chris Kennedy's 4 Horsemen universe. And as they come back to me, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a bundle of those.
If I get when I get my rights back to Soul and Beyond, I have a ton of stories that take place around the same time as Derelict, or are prequels to Derelict, or are what happens the first 50 years after Derelict. Not to mention some stuff that takes place centuries after Derelict. So, yeah, they're all there.
Jared said that he hadn't considered going wide, but now he will. Most of my short stories have been in anthologies, and those anthologies are still out there. I have a non-exclusive license to reprint those when I get the rights back, but I can't do KU with them because they're legally still out there in another property. So it has to be wide. It can't be in KU. So why not go wide?
Oh, so KU keeps you from double dipping.
Yes, you cannot double dip.
Gotcha. We'll get the rights back 3.5, 4 years.
Actually, I'm gonna correct myself there. It's not KU, although KU has rules about double dipping. It's the license, the contract that was signed to be in the anthologies. They have non-exclusive rights, and you can't be in KU if you don't have the exclusive publishing.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. That makes sense. That makes sense. I'll get my rights back when I get my rights back.
1 billion years in the future.
Fuck. By then I'll be a broken down old man.
You're already a broken down old man.
No, I'm just a broken down middle-aged old man.
I'm broken down.
Yeah, you're in your shoulder. Me and my elbow, my shoulder, my ears, my knees, my brain. I think we're running out of topics here, folks.
Well, it may be that we are done for the day.
Maybe.
And we should tell you, folks, we've talked amongst ourselves. The last weekend show we're going to be doing for free like this is going to be the last weekend of this month. Next month, we go back to doing the regular episodes because people are being released. The COVID holidays, they're over now. Everybody can go about their business.
Paul will officially be an old man when he turns 50 in December. Thank you for reminding me. I appreciate that.
He's a total geezer right now. He doesn't have to wait till December.
If this COVID shit continues, by then my beard's going to be down to my damn waist. Then I'm going to show up in every episode with a washboard. I'll be doing the DRS theme song on the washboard.
You do the picking, I'll do the grinning.
Texas and Florida talking. Chilling. Oh, to be 50 again. Any plans on non-Patreon support options?
He keeps saying yes, and then he never does anything about it.
Oh, God. When do I have fucking time? Yes, when I have fucking time. Or can hand it off to somebody and say, here, go do this for me. Go do this.
We obviously need a DRS assistant.
Yeah, I am, guys, I am on the precipice of this thing either exploding into dollar signs or just exploding. So
there's going to be booms. No matter what happens.
One way or another, it's going to be booms. So that's why I haven't been posting podcast episodes timely. I haven't been doing jack shit. Seems like I am really behind the 8 ball trying to get shit done because we have a lot of crazy stuff coming. So that's pretty much all that I can say on that. So my apologies for all of that. I'm really glad that y'all have been joining us every Saturday. It's been a good thing. So
Sue says she heard that as boobs. I'm not even sure what she heard that was boobs. What?
Booms.
What? Oh, I see. Okay.
God damn, have you already forgotten the conversation? Who the hell did you take your Geritol today?
I can't remember.
I rest my case. My God. You know what this means, though? I have to go look up Patreon stuff.
Yeah, no pressure.
People expect things, Hey, look at that. Last time I logged into Patreon, I was right here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. Everyone's brain dead today. Yeah, be nicer, Santa won't bring you toys. What did I do now? Well, if you would like to discuss with us and tell me how wrong I am about something I said in this show, as I'm sure many people will as soon as this show stops, because that's what they love to do, You can send an email to show@deadrobotsociety.com. You can tweet me at Paul_E_Cooley. You can find us on Facebook on the listeners, the lesbians.
The lesbians of the Dead Robot Society. Yes,
that's a completely
that's exactly
different group.
where you can
that
find
involves broken toys. That's all I'm going to say about that. You can find us on Facebook, the listeners of the Dead Robot Society Facebook group. You can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/DRS podcast to see our ugly mugs. We have to thank our wonderful host, Bonos, who makes all 14 bazillion episodes of the Dead Robot Society available for your ear holes. If you'd like to support the show, and Raga only knows why you would, you can find us at patreon.com/DRS podcast for exclusive content such as, live shows and other nonsense you might enjoy. And at the $10 level, you get your name read. And our $10 patrons are Cheryl Winters, Veronica Jaguar, Isabel Cushy, Chris Winder, Drew Bernardi, Nathan Cosby, Rick Shaw, J.D. Barker, Andrew Smallwood, Tony L. Joy, and Joshua Sylvester. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, folks. You know, you should go ahead and record everything that you're going to say, and then you could play it at 3 times the normal speed at the end. It'd be like the game on the radio. Blah, 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 blah,
Oh,
blah.
yeah. You know, like to have time for that. I think actually I figured out how they do a lot of that. There's like a filter setting in Logic Pro and GarageBand, etc., which is delete blank space. So basically, you can set it to just leave like a microsecond of silence before the next sound starts. And so it sounds like the person is talking really freaking fast. That's possible. I'm clearly in the wrong Facebook group.
There was an ad that was playing during something that was in Spanish, and they had the legal disclaimer at that same speed. And I'm like, I cannot imagine how even a native Spanish speaker could have understood it. It was just wow.
Well, you got to remember, man, the speed of language is all relative because it's all about your ear and how you. I mean, some languages sound like they draw out the sounds forever, and others are just like they're just gone as soon as they start. We just started talking about another topic. We're trying to leave the damn show, and we are not doing an anthology called "The Lesbians of the Dead Robot Society." That is not happening. Do not spread that rumor.
Spread that rumor.
Goodbye, folks. Adios.